This is the first entry in my video diary of writing the novel I'm currently calling The Lion in the Cave, about 1983. I chose to begin, well, I was going to say I chose to begin this book by doing an identity chart, but the truth is I've been working on figuring out how to write this book since at least 2008. And it's turned into, since Barack was elected, and it's turned into something else completely. I decided to make it a novel, definitely, for one thing, which took a long time to decide. I decided to tell it in the first person, and that took a long time to decide. And I've decided to make it intensely personal rather than a sort of gee whiz timeline. My favorite bad beginning for the book I sent to Jody Hotchkiss once, which it begins something like, Barack Obama and I almost never became roommates because on such and such a date a Russian general nearly ignited World War III, about a month before I moved out. It happens to be true. And that was certainly a plausible beginning. But it would have been a different kind of book. It was a way of avoiding the truth about myself. Anyone else could write that book. Anyone could write that book, that plausible beginning book that I just described. So why write it at all? Right? It really began to hit me that I had to write the book that only I could write, or else it wasn't worth writing. So, anyway, I'm sure I'll reflect more on this as time goes on. But I've begun by assembling an identity chart. The idea is to list what I call identity selectors about the various ideas that I have in my head now, or can identify as having had in my head at that time in the past, and what memories or incidents, what factors took place that influenced a change in those ideas, or an alteration in the understanding of the world that those ideas presupposed, or what awakening occurred that made me aware of those ideas as ideas that had come to me wholesale or free or preformed. What ideas require support systems, like the idea that the police are really good. I keep thinking of all those propagandistic police shows. Science fiction is a form of propaganda too. It's more important to invent iPads than it is to worry about destroying the environment. Well, we are what we are. So this is the first entry. It's been considerably more difficult to write this than I thought it would. It's kicked off a period of intense visual porn addiction, which I am only coming out of in the last couple of days. That lasted a few months. I've gotten a grip on it, so to speak, by blocking websites in my hosts file. I wish I could block them on the router, but it is not a Wi-Fi router. Maybe I can call Time Warner and change that. If I can, I will. In fact, I think I like that idea quite a bit. And give Suzanne that password. Excellent. That's a great idea. That will save me. I mean, the amount of time that I spend masturbating and then passing out. Food, I mean, everything makes me pass out. That does. Food makes me pass out. I find it very hard to stay awake. I don't know why. Doctors don't seem to know why. But there it is. So I have to do everything I can to stay awake, to keep waking up, to talk to myself, to stay conscious. It also kicked off some drinking. I had 2 intense alcoholic slips, spaced with 1 night between them. 4 beers one night, then no drinking, then 5 beers the next night. Not only was the drinking extremely unsatisfying, it just made me groggy. I felt nothing. I did not feel anything pleasant from drinking. All I felt was tired and bloated. And I gained 5 pounds. So apparently it's a bad idea all the way around. I went through a period of eating meat and butter and cheese through the last several days, which is a good way. I might as well just commit suicide with my cholesterol count. It's like getting down on my knees and praying for a heart attack. So if that's the way I want to go, that's the way to do it. On the bright side, I've gotten 2 beautiful new camera lenses that I'm having a great time using. Nothing to do with this, but I just want to say it. So I will not be keeping the original files of this. I will be converting to web exports immediately and putting the web exports up on Google. It's clear from this video that I have mental difficulties, especially when I'm speaking like this. I don't have these difficulties when I'm speaking with a normal human being. I don't know why I do when I'm speaking with myself, but I do. And not always. This will be clear, but sometimes, and it happens quite a bit. And I have a tremor in my left arm that's never gone away. Resentments over that with Dr. Gianni Feda. That's another story. So, you get the picture. Gifted, intelligent. Something's not quite right up here. So, this must be a private video diary. It hurts to examine myself. It hurts. There's something in me that does not want to look. Does not want to look. So that means I must look. I have an instinct that the things I don't want to do are the right things for me to do, because my training was not just bad training, it was training that guaranteed that in order to survive I would have to do the opposite of what my instincts told me to do, because my instincts were insane. Alcoholic, bred over 400 years at least, probably thousands of years, probably an alcoholic gene, maybe not forever. And anyway, anyway, I think that's enough for tonight. I have to get to this, so the plan is when I come home, I'm going to try to stop masturbating because it's slowing me down. I got a haircut today, which always sort of refocuses me and makes me feel more crisp and focused on what I'm doing. I've got a good list of things to do in the evening rather than watch television, which was what I was doing. And I'm feeling some more comfort about what I'm doing at work. I'm getting positive feedback on a couple of things I'm doing. I just have to keep doing them and stay focused. And I've determined that I will stay in this creation of this identity chart as long as I need to. I will write it only up to 1983 through 5 because it is the period in the focus of this book. But I do need to complete it through that. So far, I've spent a few weeks on the identity chart for up till 7 years old. So, it may take a while, and I am not going to speed this up. I'm going to give it the time and attention it requires to get it right, or at least to ensure that I've explored all the areas. I've made up my mind that if it takes a year, it takes a year. The only important thing that this book be done before Barack leaves office, so that I have an audience and that I have a clear road ahead from the writing. Actually, this identity chart, I'm scraping it and turning each row into a small chapter. And that in itself may form a small book. It may be a useful profit-making book, as well as useful to people, perhaps young people who are going through this themselves, although I hope no one ever goes through this. Keep Giles, the pain of his life, my cousin. There's some lives that require infinite healing that they will never get, ever. I'm so sorry that his father destroyed him. Anyway, that's enough for tonight. Enough.